recorded live at 4ZZZ Studios, Meanjin, Brisbane.
On 102.1 FM.
And broadcast across Australia on the Community Radio Network.
You're listening to Zed Games.
Zed Games brings you the best in gaming news, reviews, community and culture. Want to reach out?
Share your hot take?
Or do you just want to share your favourite game?
Find us on socials at Zed Games AU.
Hello. You're listening to Zed Games. My name is Hazel. And who's that in the studio?
I'm Paul. I still am.
And this?
This is the not Paul again. Peter.
Peter, Paul, and me.
Yes.
There's a
me.
poem about two little birds called Peter and Paul, but no one said it to me in years, so let's move on.
Well,
I'm going to look this up now.
Little dicky bird sat upon the wall, one named Peter and one named Paul.
Have got a lot to talk about tonight. We got some gaming news. We have got a review from Paul. And we're going to be talking about Steam Next Fest later on. And if you don't know what that is, have a listen. Learn some things. You could play some free games.
Yeah. Check out all the new stuff.
Demos at least, you know. We're bringing back demos. How are the two of you?
Oh, I am full of vinegar.
Interesting choice of words.
Yes.
Peter, how are you?
I'm fantastic. I've just had my coffee. I am excited for tonight. I finally have a new game to play.
Just had your 6 p.m. coffee?
Yep. I'll be up till 4 a.m. again. It's fantastic.
Nice.
I was up till... I was still running Ethernet cable at 3 a.m. the other day. I'm doing some renovations. I needed to get that done before we started sheeting the next day. Exciting times. Because, Wi-Fi will just never match some good old
cable.
Cat6.
Yep.
Wi-Fi will never... It'll never shape up.
When are we getting Cat 7?
Doesn't it exist?
Exists,
yeah.
Yeah.
You just don't want to run it yet.
No, you don't know.
Yeah. You guys been playing many games lately?
Endless games. I'm having a wonderful time.
Yeah.
Out of other things that I haven't been doing, Go Mecha Ball, which is very, very cool. It's just a little sort of arcade roguelike shooter, very sort of reminiscent to Assault Android Cactus.
Ooh,
okay.
But
that was fun.
Instead of being a cool android lady, you are a little creature that turns into a little robot creature that turns into a ball. So it's got that plus a little bit of like pinball / Tony Hawk.
Delightful.
Yeah,
awesome.
It's pretty wild. It's good.
Very, very interested. I would love to hear you review it.
Maybe one day. If I'm ever good enough to get far enough into it.
I predictably have been playing Trackmania, but I discovered that it's on consoles now, which it has been for 6+ months, but I didn't realize.
Yep.
Anyway, I've been playing it on the PS5.
Nice.
It somehow feels slightly different, but I feel like that might just be me sitting further away from the TV.
That does have a very unique perspective for your game sort of idea, just sitting that extra distance back.
I feel less precise because I'm not staring at the pixels right in front of my face.
You could instead get a VR headset and
I was going to say,
make those pixels just massive in front of you as if you were playing on a 300-foot screen.
God, Trackmania in VR would give me the most motion sickness anyone has ever had.
You can do Trackmania VR, and it does.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
You wouldn't want to see the room afterwards.
No.
You been playing anything, Peter?
I've been continuing my WoW endeavours leading up to the next expansion later this year with friends and whatnot, playing for the first time. Otherwise, a little bit in Enshrouded, and very much looking forward to Helldivers 2 in T-minus 52 minutes.
Yes, coming out very, very,
very soon. Yes.
I've not got much to say about it. I didn't play the original.
Oh, it's just Starship Troopers, the game.
Yeah, pretty much.
Interesting.
With a little bit of Warhammer 40k.
Specifically the
sprinkled
Paul
in.
Verhoeven movie.
Oh yes, Paul Verhoeven style. It actually very much apes the propaganda style of Verhoeven's film.
Would you like to know more?
Managed democracy.
Yeah.
Okay.
With the chaos of the Magicka games, which is what they made previously.
Yes.
So a lot of deliberate and
Magicka.
accidentally killing your friends, but it's okay because you can revive them very easily.
And conscripted volunteers.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mobile infantry made me the man I am today, which is a woman.
You're listening to Zed Games at 4ZZZ.
You're listening to Zed Games on 4ZZZ.
Oi mate, you're listening to Zed Games at 4ZZZ.
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 Got a bit carried away.
You're listening to Zed Games with Hazel, Paul, and Peter. And coming up now is the week in gaming news from our friend Maylee.
Welcome to another week in gaming news. Starting off, we have more details about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. 1 week after its State of Play showcase, PlayStation treated us to a second State of Play exclusively about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which won Most Anticipated Game at last year's Game Awards. They unveiled a new trailer, 11 minutes of gameplay footage, and plenty of new game details. The standout features being the expansive game map and the rich graphics. In the presentation, they also announced a demo where you can play as both Cloud and Sephiroth. The demo is currently available, and an additional portion will be added before the game's full release on the 29th of February. Despite the hype around Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, its developer, Square Enix, has just announced a change in its approach to production. Takashi Kiri, the company president, shared that the studio intends to reduce its dependence on outsourcing and focus on producing large-scale titles internally. Some fans are upset because this means fewer games from the studio, but it will allow them to prioritize quality, which is a damn good thing. An Xbox announcement is inbound. The Xbox rumour mill has been working overtime lately. It started with reports that Hi-Fi Rush, Starfield, and other games might be getting a release on the PlayStation 5. Now there's speculation that we could see a complete overhaul of the Xbox business model, maybe even moving away from consoles entirely. On the 5th of February, Phil Spencer, the head of Microsoft Gaming, posted on Twitter, "We're listening and we hear you. We've been planning a business update event for next week, where we look forward to sharing more details with you about our vision for the future of Xbox. Stay tuned." While it seems likely they'll be addressing the rumours, we don't know anything for certain until next week, so watch this space. And we have some upcoming game releases. Banishers Ghosts of New Eden releases to PC, PS5 and Xbox on February 13th. Ultros releases to PS4, PS5 and PC on February 13th as well. On February 14th, we'll see Tomb Raider Remastered releasing to the Switch, PC, PS and Xbox. And on February 15th, Plate Up will be releasing to the Nintendo Switch. And that's all there is this week in gaming news.
Thank you for the news, Maylee.
Thanks, Maylee.
Thank you, Maylee.
You know what? Should we indulge in some rumor mill and speculation about the Xbox announcement?
No, we have to talk about Tomb Raider Remastered. How did they make a game look worse?
Ooh.
25 years or
Ooh.
whatever after it was launched.
Very interesting question.
Yeah, it seems like it would be easy, but that's an achievement.
I mean,
because they had no heart. Well, I mean, no, I can't say they had no heart. They had no money. They didn't put any money in it. Anyway, no, let's speculate on some rumors.
Yeah.
You know what? I just want to start making stuff up.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I think
the Xbox announcement is that they're gonna make a new Xbox that goes over your head, not like a VR headset. It's kind of like a cage that you're trapped in.
Oh,
yep.
like
mind
the
prison.
rat cage from 1984.
Something like that, yeah. It's gonna descend over your head. The games are gonna be beamed straight into your mind and into your eyeballs, but it will kill you.
I heard they're just gonna go Sony exclusive.
Sony exclusive, not even PC, Switch.
No.
Not even releasing on their own platform.
No, yes. Which is the potential rumor that they will no longer have their own platform, and otherwise just be on everything. Be on TVs, be on your PC, be on your PlayStation, be on your Switch 2, 3, and 4. Oh, but be on your Atari Amico. That's the one that didn't come out but is now a phone app.
I'm excited for the first Sony Microsoft collaboration console that's going to be like the box station.
Yeah. Just
or the X-Play.
The game box. Yeah.
The game machine.
I mean, I think
the game station. There we go.
Peter was mentioning this before, and it was because there's always been a lot of conversations about how Microsoft strategy and them bringing studios and then making their games exclusive to that. And it was that the balance sheets that in the long run that would work out, and the situation has changed, and I think they just are going to switch strategies because.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think Starfield hit like they wanted.
Nope.
No.
I don't think Starfield hit like anybody wanted.
Nah. I mean, kind of. I kind of wanted it to hit like it did.
I saw a...
Did it hit like people expected? Yes. Did it was it hitting their expectations? Yeah.
After, like, the thing... I didn't play Starfield.
Nope.
I didn't watch anything about Starfield. I don't really want to know anything about it.
Have you played any other Bethesda RPGs?
Yeah, I've played like all of them.
Yeah, you basically know most of it then. Except
just imagine it's in space.
Just imagine a little loading screens added.
Cool. So it'll be like when I played Skyrim on the Xbox 360 at launch.
Oh, yep. So and a game that discourages exploration.
Interesting.
Just what you want.
That's a really innovative new direction for Bethesda. We're going to make an open world RPG where exploring sucks. It's bad. Yep. You don't want to do it.
Not to make this the radio show about Starfield, but the actual plot and what they do with like the meta of the story is actually what they should. It's great. The idea is great. The execution is not so much.
Interesting.
Yeah.
They tried to shove it into a game that didn't match the expectations of what the story was.
Well, you're listening to Zed Games with Hazel, Paul, and Peter, and Paul is going to be giving us a review of a game called Phantom Abyss right now.
Gonna jump, gonna swing, gonna do your thing, gonna get killed by a giant head. Something else, then you're gonna be dead, then you're gonna try again with your friends. Hey! Yeah, that was relevant that time.
That was.
That was good. Yeah, I liked it.
Try to get it in.
Tell me about Phantom Abyss.
Okay, Phantom Abyss is, above all, a Brisbane-made game that originally released in early access. I actually didn't realize the original release was early access. In 21st of June, 2021.
Whoa!
It was actually a short, flash in the pan, quite big hit. I couldn't contact them after launch because everyone was so busy. Devolver was publishing, and it was very cool. I played it for a while, and then I sort of fell off because I play several hundred games a year. So then I saw that version 1.0 was launching 25th of January, 2024. So time to check back in. So since we didn't review it initially, this is just a review of the whole thing. So the concept, it is an asynchronous multiplayer temple exploration parkour game, you might even think of it as. They randomly generate temples. It's a first-person game. Very, very acrobatic. Lots of jumping and sliding and trying to avoid traps. But everyone that's tried the temple before you will see the ghost of their attempt. And then when you die, other people you'll get added to that lot. And then once someone actually reaches the end of the temple is closed and no one else gets to play it. So one person wins. I've never actually delved into what if two people are doing the same key at the same time and one of them goes, I think probably they'd both get it. But
yeah.
I'm not 100% sure on that one. So it worked really, really well. And then it was sort of just doing random missions originally. And I fell off it eventually because I wasn't that good at it and I'd seen a lot of the content. Now with the final version, what they've really done is flesh it out a lot. They have added a story mode, which means they're just more a curated set of levels and challenges with special abilities because your main tool in the game is a whip. That whip can be used to smash things, but also it's basically a grappling hook.
I did notice in the description of the game on Steam, the headline "Unlockable Whips."
Oh yeah,
which is quite a thing to advertise about your game.
Oh yeah.
I know.
It's all whip based.
Got me excited.
That's what you'll be sort of unlocking primarily through the game. Different whips with different pros and cons. We have a whip that makes you super, super fast, but fall damage will kill you instantly and stuff that. But fall damage is always dangerous, but you have to roll at the end. And if you roll, as we all know, at the end of a fall, even if it's several hundred meters, you are fine.
Oh yeah, no, that's
just do a little roll.
Also, if you land both feet on a skateboard and roll away, you're fine. No ankle damage at all.
And the skateboard, as we know, they're all well enforced to take
a
terminal velocity impact.
Yes.
So this gist of the game, you're running through, There's traps. Eventually, guardians are released, and they're big floating heads that you like shoot lasers or throw bombs at you. And as you go down, it's a roguelike, so you get blessings that you can either take or not or buy. So things that might make it more difficult with more reward, or give you some special abilities, give you a super jump, things like that. But yeah, so they've added the story mode, so that gives you this sort of fixed set of challenges. They've also got the daily runs, and you can do the daily run multiple times. You're not like locked out of it. I think they've been a lot more free in like, yeah, you can try stuff a lot. You can just go back. If you want to master a level, you can.
So the daily run is kind of like Wordle.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Wordle run.
Yeah. Just work out the word and then log into a different account and I got it in one guess again. Oh, I'm amazing. So yes, and the game gets really, really hard. I have not played on the highest difficulty levels. I have watched some of the highest difficulty levels. It is just stuff firing up all over the place, lasers and bombs and traps.
It looks intense.
It can be very intense. But if you are a careful player, you can stay back a little bit, watch the ghosts, because not only will they show you where traps and such are, if they are killed by a trap, that trap becomes disabled.
Oh.
So there's a little bit of it, because it's a racing game at its heart as well, and a speed running game if you think about it like that. But it's things like there's chests around that have gold coins. If the phantoms get to the chest first, they open it and the coins come out. But if you're the person that opens it first, the coins get like dragged to you. Mm-hmm. But if you're there second, you still get the coins, but you have to physically walk up to it, so it makes you a bit slower.
Okay.
Yeah. Huh. So you're not penalized for it other than a bit of time.
Right.
And yes, I jumped right in with the 1.0 version, doing sort of some of the more curated events, and they've got some nice modifiers with the guardians and everything. Mm-hmm. So some of that really pushing up the difficulty. Probably the only complaint I have with the game, and it would be difficult with as much going on, sort of the powers and abilities you can sort of get in a run are never crazy. Like, you're not going to be getting some weirdo build that makes you immortal or something, like when you get those perfect runs in a Hades or something like that. Mm-hmm. But if you mess too much with the core mechanics, it's, as I say, it does have a lot of roots in speedrunning, so you're kind of limited to that, and you are extremely mobile just by default, so I'm not quite sure what... As I said, they've already got like jump modifiers and fall modifiers and whip modifiers. What else could you really do? But I would have liked to be surprised. But yeah, it's a really satisfying game. It's you can share with friends, so you can do the same run and everything, go back and forth. Otherwise, just playing with the community is fine, because it's asynchronous. You're not doing it at the same time. Good to jump into, and I always like looking at people that don't like something. And this, primarily, it's people that don't like it are people that have played hundreds and hundreds of hours and don't sort of like the very fine minutia. And that's always a good sign to me. It's like, okay, so you can put in a few hundred hours before you become jaded.
That's still a few hundred hours of entertainment.
Yeah, and they're still playing it. So
yeah.
It's good.
What platforms is it available on?
This is on Steam and on Xbox. It may even be currently on Game Pass.
Okay.
I should be better at my research than that. As I say, and published by Devolver.
Published by Devolver. Devolver
and Team
Digital.
Wibby is the developer.
Developed by Team Wibby, and it sounds pretty cool. Would you recommend it?
Yeah. It's if you like parkour, if you like sliding down a hill, jumping off of things, shooting over, and like having a lot of freedom of mobility,
all the good parts of modern shooters, just running around jumping on stuff.
Yeah. Like, technically you can, some whips you can attack things, but that's not the game.
Mostly traversal.
It's all about movement.
All right. Well, thank you.
Yeah, currently $29.50, and I'll pick up the soundtrack for $7.50 as well.
Woo! Slide under this closing door. Grab my hat.
All right. Well, you're listening to Zed Games. My name is Hazel, and there's two weird guys in the studio with me.
I'm both of them. I'm Paul.
And I am Peter. Apparently not one of these weird guys in the studio.
Yeah.
That's right.
Huh. Well, we're here to talk about video games. And
that we are.
This time, specifically, we're here to talk about some upcoming video games that have dropped a ton of free-to-play demos.
Hit the theme tune, Hazel!
Steam. What theme tune?
Do 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 do. Anyway, we need more music in this show.
Yes,
we just had music. Anyway, yes, every year now, Steam
multiple times a year.
Well, yes, multiple times a year actually.
I'm glad for it being multiple times a year.
Steam has a thing called Steam Next Fest, which is basically just encouraging developers to put up their free demos of their games, so people can check out some upcoming stuff.
And they actually, over the last few years, have had to add rules to it because there are over 1,000 games in this, and
there are 1,313 demos.
So I think each developer gets 2. Like 2 festivals they're allowed to go in, because otherwise there would be 6,000.
Yes.
So it keeps it down a little bit. But I always get obsessed with these things. I'll download like 100 plus demos and just go idly through them until, unfortunately, at the end of the Next Fest, a lot of the demos do turn off. But many of them don't.
Yes.
So on the day that it turns off, I just look at my list and see what says play and what says purchase. So this year's had some interesting games so far. I just wanted to mention a good chunk of Australian games that are showing, and some of them for sort of the first time.
Indeed.
The big one for us, friends of the show, and just a cool game anyway, Bears in Space.
Oh, yeah.
Bears in
hopefully
Space.
Launching not that far off, but yeah, they've got a very robust demo. Bears in Space is somewhere between Doom and Returnal, a bullet hellish first-person shooter with lots of mobility, and then as the game kept developing, they just kept adding stuff. So I thought it was just going to be a really competent, fun shooter, and then suddenly you're playing basketball, and there's races, and there's all sorts of stuff in there. It's all very well polished. They've been working on it for 7 years so far, and this is the first publicly available demo, so I would highly recommend giving it a whirl.
Oh, very much so.
And yeah,
local
like you
guys
said,
out at Twitch, so
they are locals. And when we had our indie game dev night at Netherworld last year, as a collaboration with Netherworld, they came round and they brought an early demo of the game that everybody could play.
It was a lot of fun.
Super cool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
it's got
on
that
the big screen.
And they've come to Queensland Games Festival a few times with us as well.
They have.
Which has been nice.
Yeah, it's got that Ratchet and Clank sort of humour and aesthetic to it as well.
Yeah.
So
it's a very good shooter. I was happy when I got
cool.
my hands on it, and it's like, oh yeah, it feels right, which is the most important thing. Other Australian games there, we've got the multiplayer game Servonauts, which very plate up. Why did plate up my go-to? Overcooked is the more popular idea of that. That's sort of like cooperative
another game that has been around in the local scene for a bit.
Yep. Queensland Games Festival as well.
Crash Course Builder.
Also.
Yes, I put those ones at the top. Other ones, Copycat, which is another one of these cat simulators that everyone's big in these days. This one's a bit more realistic, based in the sort of a real world. It was showing at PAX last year, but it's nice that they've got something up for people to play now. There's Acro, which is sort of a pixely strategy roguey thing. Grist, which is turn-based sort of combat RPG, a bit faster than lightish, but it's all ASCII art. It's one of those things that when I first saw it a few years ago, impossible to parse when you first looked at it, but it's gone through a lot of iterations now, and it's a very, very cool game. There are a few other things there, but sort of big other games that might draw your interest. I've pulled out a few. So there's Hellskate, which we were mentioning just before we came back on air. Hellskate,
it's like Tony Hawk if you had a sword and there were monsters.
It's Tony Hawk crossed with a character action game like a Devil May Cry, but in a sort of roguelike setting as well, and you're a demon on a skateboard.
Devil May Skate.
I hope they have an unlockable Hawk Tony that you can play.
It plays pretty well, and it delivers on its pitch. It's just wild.
I'm gonna have to give the demo a try. It looks awesome.
The one game that I've been kind of a little bit obsessed with was just announced, and they put a demo out immediately. Children of the Sun, and it's a little bit edgelord in that, like, you were brought into a cult and the cult was bad, and you receive your gun in actually a way that is maybe needs a trigger warning, so I'm just not going to say. But yeah, it's very edgy here. But you are a young woman with a sniper rifle, and the only movement in your game is you're given a scene, and you can move left and right. It feels a bit like Killer 7 the way it moves there. Then you pick your shot, and you take your shot, and then you play the rest of the level as the bullet. And every time the bullet hits a target, you get to re-aim the bullet. So it's a bit of a geography puzzle. There's some other abilities you get. It's like... And the whole thing's got this very angry, like, clipped audio aesthetic to it. I'm like, this is rad.
Wow.
I kind of love it.
That's really interesting.
Other things, there's a demo for Outcast: A New Beginning, so Outcast 2, if you're not aware that there used to be a game called that, which is just cool to see because I thought they probably wouldn't, because I didn't think it would be that polished of a game. So it's nice that they're putting out a bit of... putting their best foot forward.
I did notice that there's a demo for Homeworld 3.
Yes.
I am currently waiting to download that now.
Yeah, that one might have to go on the list.
It's just to see if they got it right. You feel like it has such a specific aesthetic and feel that's the most important thing, so they couldn't possibly do it wrong.
See, I didn't play the original Homeworld games.
The first one was very clunky. The second one was a lot better, which is why when they re-released the HD versions, they put the control system from 2 into 1.
I'm very easily drawn in by spaceships, though.
No other space game, like from that sort of perspective, has the feeling of three-dimensional, like there is no up and down. It's just...
I remember watching some footage back in the day.
They are beautiful games. Just the aesthetic they made the game readable and also beautiful, and it has just one of the best soundtracks ever.
Oh yeah, it's an absolutely amazing game. This new one's looking fantastic.
Yeah, speaking of sort of that generation strategy, there is also the demo for Stormgate out, which is basically Warcraft 3 devs making Warcraft 4. They're sort of focusing on the stuff I don't care about, but I understand that those games are popular with people.
Is it actually like a studio made up of Warcraft 3 devs?
Yes.
Okay. Like they split off from the whole thing.
They left long ago.
I think
that's
it was
cool.
About 4 or 5 years ago, I remember them
something like that
separating before all the big Blizzard controversies and everything else. So
I think that like the genealogy of game studios is so interesting, where people come from and what they end up making.
Well, that's the thing. You get studios that they have a reputation, but the people involved may not actually be there, and it's like, well, how do they maintain that over time? And that quality, it's interesting. And then also when people leave and they're sort of held up as the talent and they make a new studio, it's like, well, it turns out it wasn't just you, it was a lot of other people, because you actually can't recapture that by yourself, because games are made by a lot of people.
What's that established ship that you take every bit of the ship off and replace it with
Theseus?
one? That's it. Yeah, is that the same with
Theseus?
Theseus Studios. Wonder if that's the thing.
Oh man, you should title a studio that or something.
No, I've already got my own studio.
It's no final.
You're listening to Zed Games with Hazel, Paul, and Peter.
Yo.
And we're coming up to the end of the show. I had a lovely time with the two of you tonight.
Always.
And thank you so much to everybody out there for listening and for supporting community radio.
Yeah.
Especially you.
Especially you.
No, not you.
You listen.
The other one.
No,
the one on your left.
Yeah.
You know
the other left.
The one with the red shirt, not the blue.
That's too specific. I'm just enjoying myself browsing screenshots of Tomb Raider Remastered and asking questions.
Thanks for listening to Zed Games.
If you'd like to listen to more, you can find us on the Community Radio Plus app
or find us on socials at ZED Games AU.
See you next time.